one lesson that made a lot of sense to me was I'm not here to get what I want. And in my first 27 years, I didn't know that. I thought that was the whole point. And so that made a lot of sense to me. I didn't want to lose my mom at such a young age. I didn't want my dad to be in so much pain. He was significantly injured also in the car accident. But that wasn't what I was here for.
All problems are psychological and all solutions are spiritual. Well, we don't like to hear that at first because it sounds like we're to blame. But he's not saying that at all. He's saying that we live in a mental universe, a spiritually mental universe, and everything has a meaning.
I had fibroid tumors, physical condition. And when I went to see a medical doctor, they told me I need to have surgery. So we had friends of ours who was a surgeon, a GYN, very good friends. And he says, Michelle, you have a very large tumor, size of a grapefruit, and another one with the size of a lemon, another, you got your fruit. He says, you have to have surgery. And don't worry about the price, I do it for nothing. I know Ralph so well, blah, 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 blah. So I said, hold off. I said, I got to see my psychiatrist. What are you talking about? What is your psychiatrist going to do? I got to see my psychiatrist. My psychiatrist says the body is the shadow of the mind. I got to see him. He says, well, hurry it up, because I can cut out the tumors, but if you stay too long, you'll have to have a hysterectomy.
Problems show us, bring up to our attention beliefs about life and ourselves that are dysfunctional. Life itself is not suffering and it isn't dysfunctional. So if we're in an area of dysfunction, it's pointing us. There's something about life that we just haven't seen yet.
So I went to see Dr. Hora, and we had a discussion, and it had to do with gender and things like that, not going into specifically. And I gave up the thought. I always thought I'd be shortchanged because I'm a female, would go to a restaurant, I'd see somebody else get a bigger dish than me because he's a male. I was a female, I got a smaller dish, and it was there. I wanted to be a tomboy, I didn't want to be a girl, so everything was working. I come back about a month later, it shrunk. He says, oh. I said, see? He said, no. He says, I want to see you in 3 months. Come back in 3 months, it shrunk more. Come back later on, and it disappeared. It just disappeared. I never had the surgery.
On a Sunday afternoon, literally, I got to the point where I must say I was literally contemplating suicide. The pain was so absolute and intense. I had been to doctors, I'd done everything, and it was literally just absolutely driving me insane. And I was finally so suffering that I was willing to be embarrassed enough and called Dr. Hora. And unbelievably, I said, Dr. Hora, and he hadn't talked to me in a year and a half, and he goes, yes, Paul. And I described the pain, and I said, I really need your help. And he says, well, this is very simple. He said, it can go away instantly. And of course, I'm not, he said, you are having, he said, have you been on the telephone? He said, what ear is it in? And I said, it's in my left ear. He says, when you speak on the telephone, do you have your left ear to the receiver? And I said, yes. He said, there's someone that you've been on the telephone with quite frequently, most recently, and he said, you are having some very angry, hateful thoughts that you have suppressed that are manifesting themselves in this pain. And he said, what you must do is go to a quiet place, be willing to be embarrassed, and bring up these thoughts and forgive yourself. And the pain will go away.
Life is not just chaotic, that there is a meaning to the experience. For instance, a year or so ago, I remember after coming back from a trip from the West Coast, seeing my son and his family out there, you know, having this pain in my shoulder.
The meaning, as Dr. Hoare described, the mental equivalent of an experience. The experience can be a perception, it can be an interaction with somebody, it can be a physical occurrence in the body, and it's saying that this experience is expressing some deeply cherished thoughts and values that need to be examined, that need to be exposed, that need to be evaluated because they are troublesome.
And I realized that that I had a chip on my shoulder. I was angry with these children, wanting, you know, to be acknowledged, wanting attention, wanting respect, and all these wanting ideas get you into trouble.
And so what we're doing in metapsychiatry, in practicing these two intelligent questions, what is the meaning of what seems to be, and what is what really is to transmute or to bring the problem or the condition or the symptom or the feeling back to its thought.
I find that once you understand the meaning of the experience, and then you turn your attention to what really is, and what is that we're individual, as Hoare calls us, individual units of awareness. We're here for God. They're not here for me. And so I find that a healing.
And the pain was so intense, I went into a room, shut the door, laid down on a bed, and it started coming to me. Because it wasn't even in my consciousness of who the person was and what the thoughts were and what the anger was. And at the moment, I sincerely forgave myself. There was a rush in my head. It was like if you poured the peroxide in your ear, it started bubbling and gurgling. I mean, it was making incredible noise. And I couldn't believe it. And I turned on my left side, and literally it exploded, and like a pint of liquid came out of my ear. So I thought. It felt like an explosion. I could feel the liquid actually come out of my ear on the pillow, and the pain was gone. And this is after 2.5 days of pain. And I looked at the pillow, there was nothing there.
All of our issues and problems, all of the phenomena of our lives are meaningful. We can understand what happens to us, why it's happening, so to speak. And not only can we understand that, but we can, from that point, open our thought to a truth, an ultimate truth that will heal and restore and help and grow us.
I think it was at that point where I truly understood that pain is an angry thought.